can do this forever.
Redfall? More like Red falling apart. This joke hurt me to make, because it's a bad joke, but also because I love Arkane Studios. But Redfall has easily been one of the worst launch experiences I've ever had for a PC port. Digital Foundry recently put out a video showing how outrageous they felt the optimization is for Jedi Survivor. Oh, whoa, that does look gross. Massive stutters, ridiculously poor utilization of the hardware available. There is not a planet where you should be getting that kind of stutter when you've got that kind of horsepower. 3080s cost almost $1,000, and they can't even keep 60 frames per second on lowest settings in this game. That's what we call a terrible PC port, which is honestly a super bummer, because the first game was so good, and I bet this one is great too, if you can afford a $1,000 graphics card to get 60 frames per second. That being said, Redfall is like 4 times worse. Oh, it's so gross. Remember what I said about how I love Arkane Studios, okay? Keep that in mind. I seriously love their games, but oh my heck, this is so gross. It probably doesn't come across in this video, but it hurts to look at. It is really glaring when the frame rate moves around so much. Now, here's a question. Does optimization in your game matter? Now, what do I mean by optimization?
Game optimization just means the game's engine is optimized to utilize all of the resources in your computer to run at the smoothest FPS possible.
Thank you, Techie Pocket 1. That's a great definition. An extremely optimized game, even on mediocre hardware, can obtain and retain consistent frames per second. You've probably heard that id Software are masters of game optimization, and this is certainly the case. Running Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal both were the smoothest and most optimized game experiences I had ever had on both low-end and middle-of-the-line hardware. Another thing I would add to the optimization definition, besides utilization of hardware resources, would be the tricks and techniques you use to get the game to run at a stable frame rate. Guerrilla Games are like the hyper-ultra masters of tips and tricks to get stable frame rates and make just the most beautiful looking games. Oh man, their games look incredible.
Rather than using a fixed cube map like the original, Horizon 2 seems to update the underlying cube map based on world conditions.
I don't even know what this guy's talking about, but what I do know is this game looks incredible and has a stable frame rate. Here's an example. This is Doom on max settings with ray tracing on. Pay attention to the top left corner, that's the frame rate indicator. I'm still getting above 60 most of the time. Then when you turn ray tracing off, it's so smooth. It's the smoothest. And it looks great too. It's not sacrificing looking great. What an incredible PC experience. But it seems like recently we've been getting a lot of PC ports that are, how do you say, problematic in their optimization. You have the games that are functional and they work, but whoa, the stutter and the frame dips and the drops. And then you've got the games that are, you just can't even play them because the glitches are so nightmarish. That's just a couple of quick ones, but there is a storied history of PC ports being trash tier nonsense factories, and then consoles get the goods. There are multiple reasons for this, but probably the two biggest would be A, the guaranteed player base and sales on a console. It's just not worth as much effort to money to optimize for PC. And then B, you've got 1,000 billion possible hardware combinations with PC. With the console, there's usually only 2. And then C, the people who made the game, aka the ones who know its systems, know how it runs, are not the people making the PC port. Typically, you hire some developer to do the port for you, and a lot of the times they're just really bad. But sometimes they do a great job. God of War's PC port is a great example. Doom, like I already showed, simply incredible optimization. And that brings us back to Redfall. Oh! What is even happening with this game? I changed the graphics from medium to maximum and it only dropped me about 10 frames. That seems pretty good, right? Wrong! It means that even if you lower the graphics, you're not going to escape from the stutter and the dips.
We're looking at another title suffering from distracting stutter where the user has practically no agency to do anything about it.
But calling these just dips would be like calling this thing just a bomb. It can go from 90 plus frames in places down to in the 30s. I kept looking at the frames per second and being so confused. It would say 70 frames per second, but it feels like 30, and it's because these unending stutters. I would easily take a locked 40 frames over this insanity of stutters. Oh boy, and the poor optimization is just the tip of the iceberg. This is a game that doesn't know what it is or what it wants to be. The AI is some of the stupidest I've ever seen. The graphical glitches are as glaring as they are confusing. How does this happen? Why does this happen? Who even knows? Well, this guy probably knows. I mean, he knows stuff. He's one of those knows stuff kind of a guy. Let's talk about the game's goofs. Goofs count. Start the goofs count. Hey, Steve, start the goofs count. You can't change the aim down sight sensitivity. It's automatically set much lower than I want, and I can't change it, so I just don't aim down sights. And then one time, when I did try to aim down sights, this happened. I'm just looking at a low-resolution image of a scope. What is happening? How does that happen? That's a fundamental aspect of the game. Vampires frequently are clipping through things with their animations. And their AI is just so dumb. When they see you and when they don't is wildly inconsistent and nonsensical. AI in general is just idiotic in this game. This guy just casually walks up to be shotgunned. This guy and his friend just let me shoot them in the butt while they're looking at something else. The ultimate strategy for defeating the normal vampires is to walk backwards. The guns feel 90% like Dookie. This gun is a 3-round burst, but it will only 3-round burst if you hold down the mouse button. If you click too fast, it only shoots one of the bullets in the burst, then resets your attack animation, so you're sitting there doing nothing. You have to wait the full animation of if it had done a 3-round burst. You have to hold for 1.3 seconds, then release, then hold, then release. It's not semi-auto, it's not a 3-round burst, and it's not automatic. It's some insanely terrible feeling in between. Here's an example of this umbrella ability. You use the umbrella to do some damage, block some bullets, and then when you finish, you push it out like a little stun effect. But the stun effect doesn't even last long enough for me to pull out my gun before the enemy is already shooting me again. I ran into a glitch where the head bob effect was stuttering so bad it almost made me sick walking around this house. Luckily, you can turn head bob off. You can't turn this one off though. Textures not loading right, visual glitches on trees and roads.
Redfall. Yeah, I don't have super high hopes for the same game. I heard some of the reviews were pretty bad, but...
Well, I did have super high hopes for this game, Bronson. I did have super high hopes. Then, the ultimate moment when I knew I was witnessing something special.
I needed to sound something. I don't even know if I can do that when I'm around.
It happened to Bronson also.
Oh, whoa, oh no! Oh no! It did it to me again! It did it to me!
Not only was he unable to move and had that wacky inversion of X and Y axis, he could not for the life of him get it to reset despite teleporting to multiple places.
Ow.
This place ain't killed me yet.
I'm in a tree!
It didn't even fix after he got downed, and I revived him.
Okay, now I'm dying. That's generous.
Many thanks.
No, I'm in the pool now.
Redfall is really struggling. This had to be a push from the publisher to get the game out. Maybe Arkane Austin bit off more than they could chew, or something, or maybe they were working on too many games at the same time. But this game is just simply rough. These are talented developers, so it makes me think that some sort of fiasco with upper management happened, where the game switched identities too many times, like an Anthem scenario, or the publisher was trying to push out a game that wasn't ready. Dude, these glitches are so funny though. They are absolutely hilarious. If I had paid $70 for this and not gotten it on Games Pass, I would have been really upset, but because I was just playing on Games Pass, these glitches made me laugh so much.
I can do this forever.
That is objectively very funny. But it was also very depressing because I have loved Arkane's games in the past. I still have hope that this game could possibly evolve into something better. No, heck, that's not what I meant!
The feeling is indescribable.